Hi my beautiful stars, welcome back to my channel. I hope that you're doing so well today. If you're new here, hi, hello, my name is Molly and I create fashion, lifestyle, beauty, reselling, and thrifting content here on this channel. So if you like any of that stuff, I'd love it if you join me here. I'm a little slice of pie here on the internet, and for today's video I have a chit chat, get ready with me. I'm gonna have a little twist on it. I'm gonna share some embarrassing stories just to make it a little bit more entertaining, and if you can relate to any of these stories, definitely comment down below. And I think sharing embarrassing stories is a fun way to reflect on life and all the fun things that happen when you're living. So let's get into it. So first I'm gonna start off with hand sanitizer because just want to make sure we're using clean paws here while doing our makeup. And my cats are in front of me watching. They're so entertained. They're wondering what this camera contraption is. Cuties, cuties. I'll link all of the products that I'm using down below if you're curious. And without further ado, let's start with the first embarrassing story. These are like in no particular order. They're just random, awkward, embarrassing stories of mine from my childhood to middle school and high school days, and I hope that you enjoy. So the first one that came to mind when I was thinking about this video was talking about my high school and the devil stairs. So my high school has stairs that are like super evil. We talk about them as if they're like an actual like thing trying to hurt you when you're going up and down the stairs, but really it was just kind of like an unspoken thing that you were probably going to fall either up or down the stairs at some point during your high school career. And my high school is technically about 3 floors, but most of the classes are on the 1st and 2nd floor. The 3rd or like basement floor is basically the gym, and we called it the field house. Lots of fun there. It was my 3rd day of school, my freshman year, and the bell had just rang for the end of the day, which was at 2:20. And I was walking and talking with my friend Ruby. As I was walking down the stairs, I thought that I had only 1 step left. No, I had 5. Of course, I fell down the stairs, but I didn't like do like an actual tumble or anything. I did this like leap thing so that I would save myself from actually tripping down the stairs, because there were so many people. Falling down the stairs would just like hurt probably more than just me. So I was trying to like counteract that, and I ended up still pushing other people in the progress of trying to save people from my falling, and I ended up pushing a couple that were holding hands into the glass doors. That was the most embarrassing moment, and I was like, I just started high school and this had to happen like the 3rd day of the week. Luckily, I mean, they were like super silent and they just like glared at me, and I felt so bad because I like full force shoved them into the glass doors because on accident, like I was falling, and in my action I had my hands forward, ended up pushing them into it, and I just felt so embarrassed. They were in my grade and they were like a couple that had been together for like 2 years at this point, so like they were always holding hands, always next to each other. So I just felt horrible because I was like, oh my gosh, like I barely talked to these people and I just shoved them into a window. I just kept saying sorry, and I don't even remember if they like said anything. They just kind of stared at me, and then I told my friend that rode the bus with them, I was like, please tell them again how sorry I am. I'm so embarrassed. I can't believe that happened. Luckily, like no one really said anything when it happened. I think just like people just kept walking, which thank goodness, because I'd rather not make it a big deal. So that's my first embarrassing story, but this gets kind of poetic because my senior year, I was running late, and the last 2 minutes of passing time, I think there was 6 minutes of passing time at my high school, and there was 4 at my middle school, so getting the 2 extra minutes was nice. But the last 2 minutes, music played, so it would be like a warning to get to class. We had house offices, and it was by last name, so that's where you go to get passes, to like leave school, to go check in if you were late, and it was also where like counselors were and all that jazz. So very fun. So I was running late and I thought I could make it to my class on time. I was going to psychology with one of the best teachers ever, and I was running and I had my coffee in hand, my little traveler mug. I missed a step and I tripped up the stairs, full out splatted onto the stairs. Luckily, like the bell had just rang, so there was like no one in the hallways, and I chose a staircase that kind of not as many people used. That was good on my part. However, since no one actually saw me fall, of course, like 3 classroom doors were like wide open, so I'm pretty sure a bunch of people heard me fall because I was like, ooh, like I made that I made a really loud noise. I can't even remember because I probably just blocked it out of my memory. I got up, I collected myself. Luckily that my coffee did not spill anywhere. It was like locked and loaded, all good to go, which was great. So the only thing that was bruised was my ego. And I was walking up the stairs and I was like, great, just fell up the stairs, and this guy goes, "Whoa, did you hear that? Someone fell." And I was like, "That was me." He goes, "Whoa, are you okay?" "I'm fine, thanks." And I just walked to my class, or walked to my house office, got a late pass. I would have made it, but yeah, I fell up the stairs. Yeah, and so freshman year, senior year parallel, instead of falling down the stairs this time, I tripped up them. I remember seeing people like tweet about the stairs. They're like, the stairs are the devil or something like that. And I was like, honestly, retweet, because I totally understand where you're coming from. Moving on to the next one here is a period story. So this one's not that bad. All of my ladies out there probably have a story or two to tell, maybe 10. You never know. But I remember growing up and I read this was my favorite part of the magazine. I think it was Pop magazine, or it might have been Tiger Beat. I used to collect them when I was in elementary school and I read them like they were the Bible. And basically one of my favorite sections was these girls anonymously would share stories that were really embarrassing, and then the magazine would rate them. They had like a paper bag, which is like the worst one to like cover your face. That means it was like the most embarrassing. And then there was like other ones that were rated differently with different emoticons. I remember it was just so relatable, and I couldn't wait to like have a story of my own to share one day. And obviously I have a lot now and I'm sharing them with the internet to hear. But yeah, I was in gym class. I was wearing these gray sweatpants that had the University of Minnesota logo and like the gopher on the top. And basically what happened was I was lifting, I was pulling down, and a group of guys walked by, and I could tell that one of them kind of looked down a little bit, not like straight at my crotch, but like he like definitely glanced, and he didn't say anything, but I was like, is there something wrong? You know, like I didn't think he was being a pervert or anything. So I looked down and I had a huge ring of blood like all up and down my thighs. Luckily they were like right on the inner thigh part that I was able to like keep my legs shut, and no one I don't think could really tell. And I remember luckily the bell was about to ring, so we were able to go to the locker room and change. And the only part that was embarrassing was like the fact that he might have saw, and I shouldn't be embarrassed by that because it's a human thing to have a period, but the fact that he did maybe see that was just embarrassing because I should have taken care of it before. But you know, things happen, we're learning, it's a fun time. This next one brings me to elementary school, but I was in 5th grade, I believe, and I feel like recess is always so fun. It was nice, and I usually like to just hang out with my friends, either swing on the swings. Sometimes we would play like boys versus girls out in the field, be silly and stuff, but a lot of times the teachers would halt that from happening because they're like, yeah, you can't do that anymore because it would get rowdy. I think actually a boy ended up breaking his arm because of that game. Anyways, the whistle had been blown by one of the teachers to let us know that we have to go back inside. And so I was running and a boy kicked a kickball, a red kickball. Right as I was running, my foot got caught underneath the ball and I slipped on it and I slid on the concrete and my knee got super bloody. And he was really sorry, which is nice. He wasn't being like a butthole about it, but I just was so embarrassed because I was bleeding, my jeans got ripped, and I always ended up hurting my knees. I have so many scars on my knees from falling off my bike, from tripping over a kickball, lots of different stories. And so this one really hurt, and the nurse wasn't in this day, which is so random. So the secretary at the front desk helped clean up my bloody knee. It was a pretty big gash too, and there was like rocks and stuff. Really not like that embarrassing, but I did feel like stupid because I felt like I could have maybe stopped it from happening, but obviously the ball was coming from behind me, so I didn't even see it happen. But elementary school, it's a fun time indeed. I'm gonna wrap up with one more story that is kind of silly. I, in high school, had a huge crush on this upperclassman. I don't know if I should say his name. I don't think he'd ever see this video, but with my luck, he probably would, which would be funny. And my cat is like full on cleaning himself right now, so if you can hear that, I'm very sorry. He's just going to town, so hopefully you really cannot hear that because it's very distracting. So I like this boy, and he obviously really didn't know who I was, but I knew who he was because I ended up remembering him from living in my neighborhood, and I hadn't seen him in a while, which is pretty clear because he was older, so I probably just didn't see him on the bus anymore because of that. I just was so in love with this guy. Obviously not like real love, but I was just very like in awe of him, and I had a huge crush on him. And I found out he worked at the movie theater because I went to the movie theater with my friends about every single weekend my freshman year of high school. I saw so many movies, oh my gosh, like Pitch Perfect and all the scary movies possible. We got into a rated R movie once. We saw This Is 40. They didn't even ask us how old we were, and we were let in. We're like, okay. Just lots of fun stuff. So we were actually going to see Insidious Chapter 2, which this might have been my sophomore year at this point, and I still had a huge crush on him. And I knew he worked at the movie theater because I went there all the time, like I said, and so I was hoping he was working that night, but I didn't see him when we walked in and bought our tickets. And so I was like, okay, well, he's just not working, that's okay. I was there with a big group of my friends and one of my best guy friends, Isaac, and he's like my childhood best friend. We live right across the street from each other. I was so excited that he was with us because I didn't get to see him as much when we were in high school. We bought our tickets, walked into the movie theater, and they were showing it on the big screen, like the really big movie theater that they usually have premieres at. And so there's 2 doors to get into this theater in comparison to the other ones that are usually just 1 door. And we walk in, and my friend sees this boy that I like cleaning up after the past showtime. And she goes, his name. And he goes, yeah. And I bolted out of the theater. And I happened to run into another guy that I had a huge crush on in middle school. And we were friends in middle school. He was an underclassman. I had still a pretty big crush on him too. We ended up talking. And I was like, is my life a movie right now? Like, am I in a John Hughes film? Please let me know, because I'm not going to complain if I am, but I'm confused. Yeah, and then we were walking out of the movie theater after the movie was over, and he was like looking into our group of people to see who possibly said his name. And what is embarrassing about this is not only that I ran out of the movie theater, but I actually friended him on Facebook like 3 separate times, and I friended him so many times that he blocked me from friending him ever again. And I just want to apologize if you know me from this story. I'm very sorry. And I am laughing at my past self for being so weird. Yeah, so that is my life. We love it. It's a good time. So that is my embarrassing story to check it ready with me. I hope that you enjoyed, and if you have anything that you relate to, definitely comment down below. I would love to hear one of your embarrassing stories, or again, if you did relate to any of mine, definitely I would love to know if you had experienced something similar. And I hope that you enjoyed. I'll see you in next week's video. Bye, shine bright.